Good evening, or whatever time it is where your optimism last gave up. I'm Raccoon. I live close to the trash, which, statistically speaking, puts me very close to global politics. Tonight, the world is once again doing that thing where everyone speaks confidently and nothing becomes clearer. Awards are discussed before they are earned, borders are discussed before they are respected, and wars are discussed as if words alone might finish them. Some call this diplomacy, some call it strategy. I call it a lot of noise around very old problems. So we'll do what we always do here. No panic, no shouting, no dramatic music pretending to explain reality. Just 3 stories, 3 official statements, and the quiet realization that facts don't get simpler just because they're repeated louder. Stay with us. This is Nuts News, trusted by no one, broadcast anyway. Tonight's first story. Europe has reacted to the Greenland situation. Interestingly, this appears to be the moment where European leaders remove their heads from the bald eagle's rear. Land has that effect. For details, Mr. Schaefer in Brussels.
Guten Tag from Brussels. After several days of intensive consultations, the European Parliament has reached an important conclusion. It is of the opinion that it might possibly deviate from some EU regulation if Denmark were to simply hand over Greenland. Which regulation exactly remains subject to further review. What is clear, however, is that there is concern, serious concern, within the scope of existing competencies. But see for yourselves.
Now, dear colleagues, the last days have also seen increased pressure on Denmark and Greenland. We will debate this later this week, but it is important to say this. The European Union supports Denmark and the people of Greenland, and we do so united in our resolve.
Good. It appears the last one is awake now. After the speech, the room reacts with enthusiasm, which is good. Unity is good. Still, clear lines and actual enforcement would help, more than just occasionally.
The measures threatened over the weekend by the United States administration will not help improve security in the Arctic. In fact, they risk the opposite. Greenland and Denmark have both made clear that Greenland is not for sale and that their sovereignty and territorial integrity needs to be respected. And that fact will not change.
I'll continue to monitor the situation here in Brussels for Nuts News.
Thank you. And now we move east. And now to a war that technically isn't one, but somehow is, at least according to Russia, and allegedly against Russia. For the Russian position, we turn to Mishka.
Good evening. At the United Nations, Russia has once again explained why peace is currently not possible. According to the official statement, there can be no ceasefire as long as Ukraine continues what was described as aggressive actions. The message was clear. If Kiev persists, peace cannot happen. Responsibility, it seems, remains elsewhere. According to Russia, the situation is very simple. Ukraine is the aggressor. Obviously. And as long as Ukraine continues to fire at what Russia describes as its civilian infrastructure, there can be no peace. Which civilian infrastructure exactly, and where it is located this week, remains flexible. The message, however, is firm. No ceasefire, no negotiations, no peace, until Ukraine stops doing what Russia says Ukraine is doing. It's a clear position, repeated calmly at length. According to Russia, the situation is very clear. Ukraine is the aggressor, obviously. And as long as Ukraine continues to strike what Russia calls its civilian infrastructure, there can be no peace, no ceasefire, no negotiations, no peace. Yes, really, Ukraine, stop being so aggressive. We wanted to be done with this 4 years ago. but you keep defending yourselves, and that really takes all the fun out of an invasion.
Thank you, Mishka. And now to a very serious award. Discussed in a surprisingly childish way. Over to Katniss.
Hello, everyone. Awards and glamour are usually my field of expertise, but here it becomes difficult. The Nobel Prize is not awarded, but offered by the winner. Meow. A letter addressed to Norway. Sender, Donald Trump. Content, disappointment, and a surprisingly casual attitude toward world peace, ownership, and Greenland. It isn't glamorous, but in a very particular way, historical. So, a woman arrives with a Nobel Prize. She dedicates it ceremoniously to Donaldus Maximus, hoping quietly that favors might follow, perhaps in Venezuela. After all, the presidency is just another form of world peace. Donald accepts the prize, smiles, checks the weight, and then concludes calmly, she is not the right one. Not the right one to represent his interests. The prize stays. The support, less so. Not glamorous, but consistent. Meow, meow, meow. And when he eventually realized that receiving something like this as a gift might be slightly ridiculous, he became visibly irritated. So he did what felt appropriate. He wrote a letter to Norway. Dear Jonas, considering that your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars, plus, I no longer feel obligated to think purely in terms of peace. Peace will, of course, remain predominant, but I am now free to focus on what is good and proper for the United States of America. Denmark cannot protect that land from Russia or China. And why do they even have a so-called right of ownership? There are no written documents, only the fact that a boat landed there hundreds of years ago. We had boats land there too. I have done more for NATO than any other person since its founding, and now, NATO should do something for the United States. The world is not secure unless we have complete and total control of Greenland. Thank you, President DJT. At this point, there is very little left to add. In terms of absurdity and meaningless writing, the quota feels fulfilled. So we'll simply say this: follow us for more animal-based news here on Nuts News. And please, be kind to your pets. They didn't ask for any of this.
What?